There we go. Alrighty. We are live and connected. So, greetings, our viewer over on YouTube, Facebook rather, and sorry for the technical issues. I just want to clear one thing up. If you didn't watch last night, like if you're a person who comes back in the mornings and you listen to the previous days, or you listen in the evening and this wasn't clear, I wasn't having a technical problem with my video yesterday with Kyle. Kyle has a technical problem connecting to Discord's servers. I don't know if it's because they don't have a service provider in Australia or close enough on the Pacific Rim that his connection to their servers through various phases of internet are that strong, but the net result is the same. The connection is not working well. But even though Discord doesn't, at least for him, for his hardware setup, just going to StreamYard, which is kind of like just a free broadcasting service on YouTube that you can stream out. On the internet, that you can stream out to YouTube or to Facebook or to these various locations. That works really well for Kyle, who is my co-host on Wednesdays, which would be hunky-dory. But StreamYard won't stream to multiple places at once without a paid account. I can't afford the paid account. So the best thing I could do was have Kyle in video in StreamYard, just audio for me in StreamYard, but use OBS to stream the window capture of our StreamYard session out to Facebook and YouTube. So you had my voice, Kyle's face, and Kyle's voice. That's what was going on last night. So there was not a big, huge technical issue. It was a financial issue, and it will forever remain a financial issue until or unless I can somehow afford to do multi-stream off of OBS or StreamYard for free using OBS or whatever method. So that's what was going on last night. Speaking of finances, one of the things that does help pay the bills around here is a little bit of advertising. And of course, our sponsor is the wonderful people at Hellebarde Games. Hellebarde Games creates games that are truly old school, not just old school inspired, not just old school implied, but are actually old school, including publishing a module by yours truly called SAA1 Temple of the Sun. Now, I'm quite proud of it. It started life as a convention-only Greyhawk module and then got beefed up a little bit. But the guys over at Hellebarde have really done a knockout job on getting it for publication. Obviously, we live in a world we can't just publish Greyhawk stuff. So when the folks over at Hellebarde came to me and they said, hey, would you like to publish one of your modules? I said, sure, and I think it should be this one. And so they created the standalone module, Temple of the Sun. Now, this is available for Osric and for Castles and Crusades, so you can get a true AD&D playing experience, or you can try it out for Castles and Crusades, which is its own role-playing game that has both some old school and some new school elements, but it definitely doesn't get into the super mathy parts of 3rd edition. It's a pretty good game. I play tested the game quite a bit. So Temple of the Sun with all new cover art is available for Osric and for Castles and Crusades. And over on the Hellebarde Games website, they have a few print copies now. They sent me this as a printing sample, hence it says prototype across the cover. But they have a few in stock, and this is truly old school. Check this out. Removable cover. Non-repro blue maps inside. How cool is that? When I got this, I was so happy because it's exactly what I envisioned for an adventure module of mine someday getting published. So I'm really happy with this. And you can get a copy yourself from Hellebarg Games, and lots of other cool stuff from Hellebarg Games. But if you want to buy just the PDF, you can get the PDF from DriveThruRPG, and on DriveThruRPG, if you apply the code The Delver's Dungeon 01. See, I thought it was the Delver's Dungeon YT, is what was in my notes. So over on DriveThruRPG, the Delver's Dungeon 01 is your coupon code from now to December 15th, and you get a discount on a copy of Temple of the Sun. So big thanks to our friends over at Hellebarg Games. They're wonderful people who make wonderful adventure modules for your D&D or Castles and Crusades games. So speaking of adventures with brown covers, the Monday night game. I know that's what you've all been waiting for. You've all been waiting to hear how the Monday night game went down. Well, you may ask. And it was kind of interesting because the party had explored. If you're not familiar with the Lost Caverns of Tsojconth, telling you exactly where folks had been might be a little vague. So you're just going to have to go with me on this in lieu of visual aids. They had explored a few side tunnels, an extremely long underground causeway that seemed to dead end in an encounter with a couple of terrible Fomorian giants, and a hallway full of infinite bats. That they're just they're tiny bats, you know, the little bitty kind, but there's enough of them that them butting into the party and running into them and flying into them whenever they make noise or use bright light sources was driving the bats crazy and causing the party to take damage with no saving throw, no 2-hit roll on the part of the bats, just swarming bats colliding into them constantly, scraping them, scratching them, biting them. So eventually, they explored some closer caves. Fortunately, the party druid was able to use a spell of speak with animals. There were giant cave crickets. They talked their way around the cave crickets. They dealt with some green slimes that almost ate the face off of the dwarf fighter in the party. And that is where we left off the previous week. Now, this next week, they were kind of moping around because they're like, well, don't know where to go. We might have to go fight more bats. So off in the west, in the northwest of the area they were, there was a previously explored cave. And the thief had encountered a couple of very large bats. And they said, well, if that cave is also full of small bats as well as large bats, going in there and fighting them could be just as terrible. And before anybody asks, no, they don't have fireball. So, in lieu of giving up and going home, they went to this cave. But they thought, well, we'll creep in and we'll deal with the bats as best we can. So we'll cast silence, 15-foot radius on ourselves. And it was some very, very clever thinking on their part because, as luck would have it, they were fighting Mobats. Now, if you're not familiar with a Mobat in AD&D, they're pretty nasty creatures on their own. They can have anywhere from 4 to 7 hit dice with commensurate hit points. A Mobat on a one-on-one battle could potentially take down an ogre. because they have a paralyzing screech that will paralyze from 1 to 4 rounds. So yeah, 1 Mobat versus 1 Ogre. You potentially have a Mobat win. So they went in with their silenced 15-foot radius. The bats swooped in and attacked. And at that point, all the bats could do was bite and scratch. And they gave pretty good report. Hacking and slicing and chopping and otherwise ruining the bats. They spent a good few rounds having to fight those bats, but the redeeming point was the silenced 15-foot radius spell. It really was. So the bats were finished off after, 8 or 10 rounds of combat. It was a fairly long combat as combats go in AD&D, a good, minute and a half of combat, which if you remember the 10-second or the 1 minute round, I say a minute and a half, 10 or 15 minutes of combat is what I meant. So yeah, 10 or 15 rounds of combat, they took the bats out. And they saw that the bats had been living on this stone shelf high up in the far corner of the cave. They climb up there. There's piles of treasure. I think it was 10d10 of every type of coin. A random amount of gems and a random amount of jewelry, which ended up being one piece, which was a goblet that was worth 3,000 gold, a bejeweled goblet. And in the back of the cliff, a tunnel through which they could hear water. So they thought, well, we might be coming near a river again. So they used their rope of climbing to assail the cliff face, went through the tunnel, and it's very short, maybe only about 10, 15 feet, the tunnel. And they came out once again on a cliff. Well, I shouldn't really say a cliff face. And they were looking out 40 feet below them, rushing to the west, another underground stream about 10 feet across, swiftly flowing. So they used their bullseye lantern and cast it about back and forth. Their bullseye lantern is powered by a silver coin that has continual light cast on it. So they basically got a mag light that they use in the dungeon. So they're panning this around and they notice off to the northwest, maybe 30 feet up and across, a beach on the river, a rocky shore at the very least. So once again, using their rope of climbing, they were able to order it across the river to secure itself. And the ranger belayed down the line, explored a little bit. Once he knew it was safe, he summoned the rest of the party down. Now, this took them a while to decide the logistics of, because they were like, well, we could drive pythons, and we could that, and this, that, and the other. And this brings up a funny point from last night. I was talking to Kyle about player engagement, about what to do to keep players engaged, and how sometimes I was worried. I have a 12-person table, and I want to make sure everybody's engaged. And we had a stretch of about 30 minutes that went by. And Paul Beckleda, who's in the audience, and if you're listening, hi, Paul, who plays the druid in the party, was being very quiet. And so, I like to go around the table, and if there's somebody who hasn't said anything, suggested anything, said they're doing anything for a while, I'll say, hey, what are you doing? But I was worried that maybe Paul was, the answer to his question, what are you doing? Well, I'm trying to not be bored out of my mind. But that was not the response. And eventually the party got over. So last night when I was talking about the player engagement issue, and I said, so just to pick a person, Paul was being very quiet when I was talking about this to Kyle. Paul pops in the chat and says, I have to defend myself here. I was not disengaged. I was wondering, excuse me. I was wondering about the logistics of creating a zip line across a swiftly moving underground river with a rope of climbing. So, and to be 100% true, I was not saying that Paul was disengaged and didn't like my game. I was just worried that I was being a dull dungeon master at the time. But as it happens, that was not the case. So thank you for your honesty and your patience with the game, Paul, and anyone else. So after figuring out the logistics, they all belayed across. They got their rope of climbing, and they continued on a tunnel to the north. And it's a long tunnel to the north, rather a lot like the one on the far eastern side of the cavern. And eventually they came to another stream, but this one had a bridge across it, a stone bridge that they could cross one at a time. And they were so paranoid about crossing that stone bridge. Let me tell you what. The ranger said unequivocally, I am looking under the bridge for trolls. And there were not. There were no trolls under the bridge. So they crossed over the bridge. And there was another long gallery that led to the north. Tracy's thief, Kane, it's Tracy Lesh, and you guys have seen Tracy on the show before. Tracy continues on to the north. And just like his painting, just like, you guys have seen the Kane versus the Chimera. He goes in. There's this huge pile of treasure in the middle of this large cavern that he enters after he leaves the gallery. And he's got his ring of infravision on there, and he sees a great chimera shape. And I describe it thus. I said, it's three-headed beast, spread wings, body like a lion. He's like, oh boy, I know what this is. So I said, yeah, you've got the head of a red dragon. Pardon me. The head of a red dragon, the head of a goat, the head of a bull. And he's like, oh, okay. So so I'm going to retreat back. Well, I checked to see if he was invisible, but I checked to see if the move silently was working, and it was not. And besides, the party was making a hell of a lot of noise coming up the hallway. The thing's not dumb. So from the shadows, from back in the back of the chamber, it goes, who goes there? And he goes back and he says, hey, it's a chimera. So the party forms up for battle. Dun, dun, dun. They get ready for battling this thing. And they enter the room, and I said, again, here's the beast. It moves up a little bit. Head of a red dragon. Head of a goat. Goat hooves on front. Head of a bull. Metallic scaled body of a bull. And that's when they realized that the bad shit was about to go down. Because, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not familiar with the type of creature, if you're not familiar with first edition AD&D, hello, Damien, good to see you. You see, there is something worse than a chimera. Chimera's a walk in the park. It's kid stuff. There's the Gorgonera, the Gorgon Bull, the Red Dragon, and the War Goat. And if you're wondering what a Gorgon Bull is, it is a metallic-skinned bull that can breathe out a breath that can turn to stone. So the party is now fully engaged with this thing. It breathes its fire breath, does a little bit of damage to the front ranks. And it was there, at that suspenseful point, there we paused. So next week, the party has the Gorgon Bull to fight. And yeah, what happens next is anybody's guess. But Chossos, which is the name of the creature given in the module, Chossos isn't stupid. But there's a lot of loot there, too. It has heaped up a considerable amount of treasure in its cave. So what happens next? But I do actually have, who was it? I'm trying to think. Pacesetter Games makes a Gorgimera miniature. And while I'm not crazy about the wings, I might actually take the wings off and replace them with wings from another dragon kit that I have. Because it's got almost like bony finger wings. Like rather than sort of the elegant, smooth pinions of dragon wings, they're like, it's hard to you know what? Let me see here. The body is very well sculpted. I'll say that. With the heads and all. Let me see if I can find this. Yeah, here's one. They look like umbrellas, and I'm not crazy about that. Oh, they don't appear to have them in stock anymore. So we get a shop. Yeah, no, they just... So you can't get these anymore, so I guess it's a non-issue. But if you want to know what the mini looks like, I'll share you the link. You can check that out. And I don't know that I'll have the chance, but I would like to get it painted up between now and next week and get a little bit of Dwarven Forge out on the table and point the camera at it and show the party exactly what they're fighting and having it moving around. But we'll see. We'll see if time permits. It's a very busy time of year. I have shopping to do later today for the holiday week coming up. We're doing an early Thanksgiving at my in-laws, which they fortunately live here in town, on Sunday, and then we're doing our own Thanksgiving on Thursday. I'm swamped. So hopefully I can get that guy painted up before the Monday game and really terrorize the crap out of the party. But hey, even if I can't, I have a Chimera that I can proxy in that is pretty cool looking on its own also. So we'll just see how that works out. But that is what the party is facing. A Gorgimera, which can... it breathes fire. It has its clawing and its biting attacks. And it can breathe out a cone of stoned flesh. flesh to stone, gas, flesh to stone, like a Gorgon can. But hey, it's got a lot of treasure. The party might actually might actually pull it out. You know, it does have a lot of treasure. And if they do, that'll be a lot of XP. Although with a party this large, I mean, even the thousands of silver and gold. Well, I think it's got some copper. I mean, you know, tens of thousands of copper is usually a couple hundred of gold, but yeah, so that's what they're squaring off against. And I have to admit something. I did accidentally skip an encounter in a cave area. I'm very embarrassed. I will put it elsewhere in the Lost Caverns, but I was just like, oh, I can't believe I did that. Because it's not just monsters to unleash on the party and cause them great discord and distress, but it's also loot. It's also loot. You know, the party should definitely have a shot at getting some loot as well as you throwing the adventure at them. So, piece of DMing advice. If you're using a pre-made module, and it occurs to you that you may have accidentally skipped it, just find another location on the map that doesn't have anything in it. And in the case of Lost Caverns of Tsojconth, there are ample caves for me to put this encounter in that the party might explore, that they might go down. I mean, hell, if they have too easy of a time with the Gorgon, I may just have them as its companions come rushing out to fight the party immediately thereafter or during. But we'll have to see. So that was the Monday night session in the Lost Caverns of Tsojconth. And I wrote that up and I posted it over on the our AD&D subreddit, which is an odd place. It's very quiet, not a lot of posts. I try and post a game summary every week. Sometimes they get a lot of likes. It's that dopamine rush, you know? You post them up and you're like, yay, 10 likes. But that's it. Like my maximum likes on my game summary post is like 10 or 11 likes on it. You're never going to see it featured on the front page of Reddit. Nobody's ever going to go, wow, why has this got 23,000 likes? Oh my gosh, this is somebody's first edition AD&D. That ain't going to happen. Just like this channel, you know, this channel is I don't think you're ever going to see us on YouTube trending. They're not going to say, let's revive YouTube Rewind. And we'll get Bill Sylvie on that. We'll get him on YouTube Rewind with all 809 of his subscribers. Which brings us to an interesting point. If you happen to cruise by this video at some time in the near future, and you're wondering, what is it all about? What is this guy's thing about? And you watch and you're like, oh yeah, old school D&D. I like that. Folks, we are getting close to having 1,000 subs. When this channel hits 1,000 subs, we're going to have us a party. And there ain't no party like a D&D party because the adventuring don't stop. We will have the first ever Great Underground Gaming Con. Great Underground Virtual Gaming Con, that is. To celebrate getting 1,000 subs on my YouTube channel. When we hit that lofty goal, I'm going to hold a virtual convention where I and other people who said they'll step up and run games will run some AD&D, some original D&D, some Gamma World, probably some Tales from the Loop, maybe some Twilight 2000, definitely some Conflict. That's the combat adventure role-playing game written by my co-host, Kyle Schuant. Kyle may even run a little bit of Traveler. I don't know. I make no promises yet. But that's when we hit 1,000 subs. Wouldn't it be great if in the next few weeks I could get that 191 subs to get us over 1,000? A great way to ring in 2022. So do me a favor. Click like, click subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications. Leave comments below the videos you like to. I see a lot of comments. I'll go in and I don't get notifications from YouTube for some reason on comments. I mean, I occasionally see them up in the notifications, like, but I've turned on notifications for all my comments. I'm not ignoring you guys. I'll go back and thank you, YouTube, for not telling me. But I'll go back sometimes and I'll look under, and you guys have made great comments. I give them likes and hearts and comment on them to give you guys a little bit of that dopamine feedback. And I do my best to keep up with it. But I want to continue to grow this community. I want to have a gaming con to celebrate breaking out of 1,000 subs to see, 1,010 or whatever subscribers. I would love to see that. So help me, help you, help us all. Give me that thumbs up. If you like the video, if you don't, hit a dislike. I'm not going to rake you over the coals. Dislike the video if you don't like it. But at the same time, please do subscribe and tell your friends who like tabletop gaming. Yeah, hey, go check this guy's channel out. He rants, he raves. He makes people laugh. Yeah, Damien's got the right of it. Roll 1d20 to see if the Gorgon's allies run in, armed with a folding chair. By God, that's Hill Giants music. Oh, that would be fun. Enemies of a certain type rushing in, armed with folding chairs. That would be great. Now, I mentioned earlier about Dwarven Forge. There's something that I haven't talked about in a long time, and I want to talk about that right now. I mentioned Dwarven Forge in a camera, and Kyle and I on last night, we talked about engagement and that sort of thing. For whatever reason, if you're out there, and it's because of Andromeda Strain, which would be the most likely reason, but if you found yourself in a situation where you don't have a game, you can't, you're all worried about it, you got a couple of people who, for whatever reason, can't get vaccinated, and you got no other method to game, and you're feeling isolated, and you're feeling shut off, and particularly around the holidays, don't sit around and feel like you can't game. Well, the world ended in 2020 and I can't get together and game. It is super easy to do. If you help us get the likes on the videos and build up the YouTube channel, you'll find out how easy to do it is. All you need to keep gaming in these uncertain times is something that connects to the internet. You don't need the high-def camera. You don't need the studio lights, the Dwarven Forge, the miniatures, the boom mic, the studio headset. You don't need it. You can get Discord on a mobile phone. I should know, I have it on here. You can get Discord on a mobile phone, and you can get a group of friends together who you trust, and you can roll dice, and you can say what you rolled. You don't even need something like Roll20 or Fantasy Grounds. Whatever game you're playing, And if you want to get set up from a technical standpoint and you don't know how to do it, ask around. The internet is full of people willing to share their opinions on the best way to do things, including virtual gaming. And if you're not hearing the answer, ask me. I've been doing it since way before the Andromeda strain. I don't need the studio lights that randomly turn off by themselves, but it helps, yes. To be fair, it's not random. It is pretty timed. I would say in the next 7 to 8 minutes, one of these two lights is going to shut off because the batteries are weak sauce. Pure Chinesium batteries. They're just not good. But, yeah, you know, if it wasn't for the fact that my channel will get shut down for doing it, I would queue up Baker Street by Jerry Rafferty when that light, you know, just kicked off there. Just a little 70s soft lighting ambiance. But anyway, no, you don't need all this stuff. But if you want to do virtual gaming and you can't get answers for technical questions online, ask me. Now, maybe your group is just like, no, we're not going to virtually game. I've met people, old school guys myself, who are like, yeah, I would never virtual game. Yeah, your game sounds like fun, but I would never do that. Games are about being at the table. And I get it, but I would rather game than not game. You know, consider the Atari 2600 versus the video arcade back in the day. If you don't have a video arcade, a video game console is a fine substitute for it. But the point is, my clumsy analogy aside, don't let yourself be isolated. Don't be just shut up in your house, your apartment going, you know, my state's still on lockdown. I can't, you know, for what I have medical reasons, I can't risk going out and potentially getting it. So I'm just going to sit here and be desperate and alone. You don't have to. And if your group just won't virtually game, your DM doesn't want to run it. Nobody else in the group wants to run it. You don't want to run it. Or maybe you want to run it, or your DM or one other person in the group wants to run it, but nobody else wants to play in a virtual game because of technical issues or personal desires or whatever. You can go out on Roll20, you can Reddit, Facebook. You can find a group that plays the kind of game that you want to play at a virtual tabletop. I promise you, you can find a game somewhere that has the type of gameplay and the type of people you want to play. And who knows, maybe you make friends doing it. New friends. And then when all this is finally over, and you go out and you game with your group, now you got two gaming groups. You got your VTT and you got your original group back. And if your original group that was just like the Yoko Ono moment and they're broken up and it's gone forever, you still got your virtual group. And if after all that suggestion, you still can't find a group and you want to play some first edition AD&D, maybe I've got some room at my table. You can hit me up. But the point of it is, regardless of what you do, don't sit around in the dark feeling like you're cut off from the world now. You don't have to be. You don't have to be shut up and locked away like Rapunzel in a tower, okay? There's plenty of fun to be had. And you don't have to have all the props. You don't have to have some of the props. You just need a way to communicate on the internet. I mean, I lost my internet connection one Monday night in the middle of my game. They just decided to start doing work at 12:15 one night, which is about 2/3 of the way through my game, but I still had game stuff I wanted to do. Grabbed my phone, got on Discord, clicked over to voice, continued, carried on. And it was that simple. So that is always my evangel for you guys. Passerby says, Baker Street, the Foo Fighters version. Yeah, I guess for 90s kids, that would be the thing, right? It's not a bad version. I think Grohl, my personal feelings about the man aside, I think Grohl kind of leans a little too heavy into making it too heavy metal, but I get it. It's not an awful cover. So anyway, I just want, because I haven't talked in a long time about the importance of keeping on gaming, to keep your morale up, to keep your spirits up. And speaking of morale, I just want to give a quick shout out to a friend of mine. I haven't seen her in the audience on the channel for a while because she's got work most of the time when I'm doing this, and I understand she's got a lot going on right now. But Kate MH, if you guys remember Kate from the audience, Kate, here's a shout out to you. I know you're going through kind of a dark time right now. You're in our thoughts. All right. And I hope things work out for the best for what's happening right now with you. And more shout outs. Somebody else I haven't mentioned in a long time. My friends over at Gods and Monsters, who are kind of like my unspoken sponsors of the show. They don't sponsor the show. They're just wonderful people, and I like to pitch them a lot. Todd and Anna over at Gods and Monsters. Look, if you come down into the Central Florida area, you want to come down here for vacation, damn the torpedoes, we'll mask up and go to Disney or wherever anyway. Do yourself a favor and go to Gods and Monsters Comic Books over on International Drive. It has everything you could want. They have gaming stuff. They have classic gaming stuff. They occasionally get old school stuff from lots of things that people sell to them for store credit. It's hit or miss with that, But I'll go in there sometimes and whoa, there's a monster manual. You know what I mean when I say monster manual. But they also have stuff that it doesn't matter what game you're playing, because they got battle mats, they got terrain, they've got miniatures, paints for miniatures, dice, just rafts of great gaming stuff there. And not just great gaming stuff. They got comic books, they've got sci-fi memorabilia, they've got classic movie posters, they've got movie memorabilia, little cosplay items like masks and stuff like that. Occasionally you'll see there. Manga, they've got manga and anime. They've got toys. It's an amazing shop, Gods and Monsters. It's down on International Drive, right here in Orlando. And if you come here, you should absolutely check them out. And when you're done shopping, you know what else they got? They got a bar. Vault 5421, the best genre pub in this entire town. It's stylized after a wasteland vault from Fallout. There we go. It was this one. The battery was in this one this time. So, ambience achieved. Level up. But yeah, they've got the bar itself is so cool. Themed drinks back there. They got classic arcade games, classic consoles. So you can game and drink and game. And I love it. And I love Todd and Anna out there. All the guys and gals at Gods and Monsters are awesome people. So if you come down to Orlando, I highly, highly recommend you check out my friends over at Gods and Monsters. I give them my highest rating, 2 thumbs up, because I only have the 2 thumbs. If you ever see me giving 3 thumbs up, call somebody. I'm very sick. I am thinking maybe after the first of the year, I might take my brand new Hero Quest down there and play some Hero Quest. But I don't know yet. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Boom. This is why those Christmas cakes are trash.
As a level
Cue sax right there. Exactly. 3 thumbs up, playing too much Gamma World. Yes. And by the way, me humming the riff from Baker Street there, that would have gotten me kicked off Twitch. Like right then, bots on Twitch would have been like, alert, alert, copyright violation, and nuked my channel unceremoniously. Just boop, boom, and it's gone. That's just how weird Twitch is. People ask me, oh, you're going to put your games on Twitch? Probably not. So that's really just about all I wanted to chew the fat on with you guys today. I gotta get back to Gamma World one day. I think maybe one of these days, like maybe the Monday group, or maybe I'll seek out another group and we'll do a Let's Play a Gamma World. Would you guys like that? Would anybody be interested in a Gamma World Let's Play? Let me know down in the comments or in the comment stream or over on Facebook. If that's something you'd be interested in doing, if I could get 4 or 5 people interested in playing some 1E Gamma World, let me know. And we could do that. We could pick a day like we do with the AD&D game. Except maybe we do it at night so people a little bit further out to the left could get to play some Gamma World. Let me know if that's something y'all would like to do. I certainly might like to do it. Now that I think about it, yeah. I think I might enjoy the hell out of that. So let me know what you think about that idea and about start times. You can hit me up here in the comments, over on Facebook, or in Discord. And we'll talk about it. Twitch hosted a Metallica concert, but could not broadcast it because their own bots killed it. Yeah. So Metallica starts playing like in the first like 35 seconds of whatever new metal, false metal, hair metal song that they do now got picked up by the bots. And then they immediately paved over the rest of the concert with fucking, I don't know, Super Mario music. And that bunch of talentless hacks. You know, it's an insult to Super Mario music. Adam said, I would. I've never played or seen Gamma World play before, and I feel I'm overdue. Well, okay. Okay. I don't know. I could be crazy. I'm feeling like this could be a Friday night thing. Like live streaming a Gamma World game on Friday night might be the thing. That way we could get like my buddy Yang Yan Zhao over in California playing some Gamma World with us. Maybe get Kat from Jay Yashiro Finney's show. And get him over and her over playing some Gamma World. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how it works out. But anyhow, that's about it for me. That about does it for me today. Thank you all for the participation, the likes and whatnot. I know it's kind of a short video today, but that's how it works. Tomorrow is Open Question Friday. It's on you guys. Y'all come and hit me with your questions and comments and concerns and negative, nasty remarks about anything D&D related, not D&D related, hobby related, not hobby related. It's just going to be kind of an open line Friday. We're going to have a lot of fun with it. So, again, let me know what you guys want to do. If you want to play some Gamma World, I got the Monday game going on. I can add another game. I can get more eyes on this. But you guys just let me know. And with that said, I'm going to bid you all adieu. Thank you, Adam Passerby, Damien, Ricky Maru, anybody else who stopped by and was watching but was being a little quiet. And I will be out of here in just a minute. But again, special shout out to Kate MH. Kate, thoughts are with you, dear. Take care. You guys have an absolutely fantastic day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.